How's your vision? If you're like most people, you think you see what's actually going on in your world. But do you? Or do you merely see what you expect to see? The New York Times ran a story about a violent altercation between two police officers and a suspect, which occurred in broad daylight in an area filled with pedestrians. And two eyewitnesses provided accounts of what happened. A 26-year-old man testified that he saw a police officer chase the suspect into the street and shoot him. And he added that the suspect looked as if he was trying to get away from the officers. A 41-year-old witness had a different story. She said, "I saw a man who was handcuffed being shot. That is what I saw." The two eyewitnesses provided additional details, most of which contradicted each other, but one consistent detail between the stories is that the suspect was shot by an officer. But the details leading up to the shooting would determine whether the shooting was justified or not. And the details provided by the two witnesses were almost entirely incorrect. Video footage from security cameras showed what really happened. The two officers began following a man that they suspected may have been responsible for violent attacks on random citizens. Suddenly, the suspect turned around and began attacking one of the officers, a woman, with a hammer. And the suspect delivered several blows before being shot by the other officer. He survived the shooting and will now face serious charges for felony assault and criminal possession of a weapon. Now, imagine if this incident had not been captured on video. And imagine if it had not involved police officers, but rather average citizens being attacked by the suspect. How much credibility would have been given to these eyewitness accounts? In recent years, DNA matching has freed thousands of people from prison who were wrongly convicted of serious crimes. And a huge percentage of those convictions were the result of false eyewitness accounts. In most cases, people thought they were being truthful. They simply didn't see what really happened, or they did see, but they misinterpreted what they saw. As Sherlock Holmes frequently told Watson, "You see, but you do not observe." Or as Thoreau put it, "It's not what you look at that matters, it's what you see." Now, in this teaching, we say thoughts are things, or as I prefer to say it, thoughts become things. But what are thoughts? In their most basic form, thoughts are images or pictures. Humans were thinking long before there was any such thing as language. They thought in pictures, and they learned to communicate by drawing pictures. Babies think in pictures, and so do cats and dogs. There's something primal about a visual image. As the saying goes, a picture is worth 1,000 words. And it's for that reason that out of all of our spiritual techniques, positive thinking, prayer, meditation, affirmations, visualization may be the most powerful. The founder of American psychology, William James, wrote, "There is a law in psychology that if you form a picture in your mind of what you would like to be, and if you keep that picture long enough, you will soon become exactly as you've been thinking." So creative visualization is a technique of using your imagination to create what you want in your life. Why is visualization so very powerful? Well, first, it activates the creative powers of the subconscious mind, which is where the process of creation begins. More about that shortly. And secondly, it focuses your brain, the servant of the mind, by programming its reticular activating system, allowing you to notice things that were always there, but were previously unnoticed. More about that shortly. And third, it magnetizes and attracts to you the people, resources, and opportunities you need to reach your goal. Now, because your brain can only process what your mind gives it, the brain cannot tell the difference between experiencing something or seeing something that is real and seeing something or experiencing something that's vividly imagined. So if you wake up in the middle of the night and see a stranger standing in your bedroom, your heart will start racing, your breathing will become rapid, and the adrenaline then starts pumping, which may cause you to tremble. And your brain will trigger these reactions even if the stranger turns out to be a bathrobe that you hung in a different than usual place. Your mind alerts the brain to go into crisis mode, all through the power of visualization. We can use the power of visualization deliberately for our benefit. Just one of countless studies, a Harvard University study found that students who visualized their test material in advance performed with about 90% accuracy, while those who didn't visualize scored only around 55%. Why? Visualization stimulates the brain and makes it achieve more. This technique has been extensively used and studied by competitive athletes. Virtually all Olympic athletes and professional athletes practice visualization, and so should you. Now, if you say, but I'm not an athlete, remember Florence Scovel Shinn and her book, The Game of Life and How to Play It. If you're playing the game of life, you are a spiritual athlete. So why does visualization work? Well, primarily because the physical universe is energy. Metaphysics has known this for centuries. Everything is energy, and that energy vibrates at different speeds, resulting in things that are finer and lighter, and things that are denser and heavier. A rock, for example, is energy in very dense form, so it's slow to change. Your flesh is much less dense, and therefore it changes quickly, and it's easily affected by various influences. Thought is a very light form of energy, and it can change extremely quickly. But all forms are subject to change. They're all interrelated, and they're all made out of the same stuff. The entire universe is thought in form, and the most powerful form of thought is visualization. Furthermore, energy is magnetic. Energy of a certain quality or vibration attracts energy of a similar quality or vibration. Like attracts like. As above, so below. As within, so without. In other words, the law of attraction. And therefore, form follows idea. The thought is first, and then the form. Thought is quick, light, flexible, and mobile. It acts much more quickly than denser forms of energy. A thought always comes before a manifestation. The idea is like a pattern or a mold. It creates an image, and then energy flows into the mold, resulting in form. So that whatever picture or belief you give to the universe will be reflected back as a condition. As you sow, so shall you reap. When you think of something you want to achieve or have, and you visualize it as already complete, which is the only effective way to think about something you don't have, see it as already established. When you visualize it as already complete and you keep that picture in your mind constantly, you create a conflict between what is and what you're visualizing. And out of that conflict comes creation. Creation occurs because your subconscious mind, which is your creative mind, goes to work to resolve the conflict and transform your current reality into your new, more desirable vision. Your conscious, self-aware mind is your individualized use, your personalized use of God mind. It gets to say, this is good, this is bad. It gets to say yes or no. It gets to choose, make decisions, ask questions, set goals, and most importantly, create mental pictures. Your conscious mind isn't very good at making things happen, but it gets to decide what is going to happen. Now, your subconscious mind is that part of your mind which is universal. It has no self-awareness. It has no concept of good or bad. It can only say yes to whatever is given to it. It can't choose, make decisions, make things happen, create anything except for what it is given. And your subconscious mind takes that picture and it says, hey, the picture is there, but there is no there. Time to get to work. And so it does. And it starts by doing three things. First, it programs your brain's reticular activating system to allow you to be hyper-aware of anything out there that will help you reach your goal. The reticular activating system is what keeps us from going crazy from all the sensations that are bombarding us constantly. There are millions of sights, sounds, smells, and sensations. In every waking moment, there are about 8 million bits of information streaming into your brain. The reticular activating system filters most of them out so that we can ignore them. And it focuses only on what it thinks is helpful to us. So when we form a mental picture of something we want, the reticular activating system starts noticing anything that might be of value in reaching that goal. And the reticular activating system makes those decisions based on what you think about, what you believe, what you picture in your mind. If you think, believe, and picture a beautiful home, it starts looking for information that will lead you to that home. If you think, believe, and picture a life of lack, poverty, and misery, it will start looking for information that will help you realize that. So what we see depends mostly on what we're looking for. Or as Emerson put it, people see only what they're prepared to see. The second thing that happens in the creative process is that your subconscious mind starts creating solutions for you in the form of new ideas. And these ideas typically show up when you're relaxed, frequently when you're doing something else. That's because your conscious mind, which remember, has very little creative ability, your conscious mind can't interfere with the creative process when you're occupied doing something not related to the problem at hand. The subconscious mind can do all this because it is universal mind, the same mind as God's mind, the same mind as everyone else's subconscious mind, what Carl Jung called the universal subconscious. The subconscious mind operates through the law of mind and knows what to do without knowing that it's doing it. And third, this whole creative process creates new levels of motivation. You become motivated to take any necessary steps toward the fulfillment of your goal. So your actions come from your images. Just walking across the room begins with your mental picture of being on the other side of the room for whatever reason. You don't say to your legs, all right, I need to go get the phone, so right leg move forward 12 inches, now stay still. left foot move forward 12 inches, etc. No, your mind simply pictures the phone being in your hands, and your subconscious takes over, and everything happens more or less automatically. And if you absolutely keep your vision in mind, you will act on your image, regardless of what obstacles appear. So here are 4 keys to effective visualization. First, set your goal. A goal is something you can have, either inside or outside. Get in good physical condition, buy a boat and go fishing, build a tool shed, get a master's degree, go to Paris. The only requirement is that it be definite. Becoming a better person is a nice idea, but it's not a specific goal. Volunteering to help your local community organization, that's a goal. Secondly, create a clear picture. Jack Nicklaus once claimed that he never approached a shot without having a very clear, sharply focused picture of where the ball was going to go. Learning to sharpen your focus may take work, but because focus is the key to successful living, learning to focus vividly is worth every bit of effort. Third, focus on your goal often. Think about it when you're meditating and praying. Think about it when you're doing something boring and repetitive, like doing the dishes. Think about it every time you've got to stop at a red light. Think about it, especially between the time you turn out the lights and the time you fall asleep. And fourth, give it positive energy. Think about your goal in a positive, definite way. Create affirmations that support your vision. Practice getting the feeling that what you desire is very real and absolutely possible. And so, to the process of visualization itself, here's a very important key. If you were to close your eyes and see your goal as already complete, you've gone most of the way in the process. Those are the key words, already complete. Because if it's complete, then everything necessary for the fulfillment of your goal is already here, right now. Look at it this way. All of the raw materials needed for making a microwave oven have existed on this planet for millions of years. But someone had to have the idea for harnessing electrical energy. Someone had to have the idea of turning ore into sheet metal. Somebody had to have the idea to synthesize plastic, and so on and so forth, until finally somebody had to get the idea for turning all of these things into an appliance that would cook food. So whatever you need is already there. It's a matter of discovery and application. Also, if your mental picture is complete, it has a lot of detail. What does your new house look like? What color are the walls? How big is each room? What are the kitchen appliances like? How big is the yard? Are there flowers? Can you feel the heat and humidity as you mow the grass and pull the weeds? Or can you see yourself giving ice-cold lemonade to the lawn service people doing the work for you? Can you see yourself writing checks for the mortgage payments and property taxes? The more detail, the more emotion, the more senses you include, the more quickly your vision will manifest. It's just like the movies. They started silently, in black and white, and then they added sound, and then they added color, and then they added 3D. Well, you create your own movie, so make it as vivid as possible. Another thought, if it's complete, no barrier to what you want, can survive. You don't have to slay dragons. They simply cease to exist. You don't have to fight the darkness. You simply turn on the light. If you can believe it, it is complete now, right now, because there's no time in spirit. Everything is now. As the scriptures say, now is the appointed time. The fields are ready for harvest now. And finally, it's complete because you are complete. As an expression of the divine, you are the whole thing. All of God is present in its entirety right where you are. Whatever your goal, the fact that you were given the idea means that you have what it takes to make that idea a reality. So when I say I am perfect, whole, and complete, what that means is that I have within myself every quality, every aptitude, and every bit of knowledge necessary to create my life the way I want it to be. My job is to keep my goal uppermost in my mind and not sabotage my goal by engaging in negative I can't thoughts and behaviors. Well, maybe you don't want a new house, a new car, or new friends. Maybe you're happy with most of the things in your life. Maybe you feel that visualizing your own good is selfish. It isn't, but maybe you feel that way. Regardless, visualization is still something to work at because there's always more to experience. You can visualize yourself giving more, loving more, helping others more. People like Mother Teresa certainly used visualization techniques to facilitate the work they did. They attracted to themselves the people, the knowledge, the money, the resources needed to help countless people live their lives and live lives that were brighter because of their vision. To be fully alive and fulfilled, you need a vision. This center always needs people holding a higher vision toward which we can work. As the scriptures say, without a vision, the people perish. Ultimately, creative visualization is not so much a technique as a state of consciousness. We're doing it all the time, whether we realize it or not, but when we're aware that we're doing it and aware of the power that it has in our lives, we start doing it deliberately, consciously, and purposefully, and then we start really living up to our divine potential. As we turn our visions into realities, we find that we receive still higher visions that lead us to still higher realities. We start really making a difference in our world because as we explore our infinite possibilities, we not only grow and prosper, but we inspire others to follow their own path. It all starts with an idea. It all starts with a vision. It may seem like magic, but it isn't. It's the way life works. We could call it hocus pocus. What you see is what you'll be. If you can see it, you can be it. If you can view it, you can do it. Remember the old Doris Day song? When I was just a little girl, I asked my mother, what shall I be? Will I be pretty? Will I be rich? Here's what she said to me. Que sera, sera, whatever will be, will be. The future's not ours to see. Que sera, sera. Well, let's revise that. Instead of que sera, sera, whatever will be, let's affirm Srai choke vedi, you will be what you see. And so we have Srai choke vedi, whatever you see, you'll be. The future is what you see. Srai choke vedi. Too often we walk through life blindly, closed to the possibilities around us. Open up. Choose your focus wisely. Everything you could possibly imagine exists in this massive, magnificent universe. It's up to you whether you see the open door in front of you or the closed one behind you. No matter what happens in your life, the minute you focus on something better, your world becomes better. When we learn to choose our views, we are choosing our experience of life. It's the views you choose that determine whether you win or lose, because what you see is what you'll be. Sarà ciò che vedi. And another little bit of Italian, e così è, which means, and so it is.